everybody was given due process through this, and that it was done correctly.
Make a motion.
You know.
So, do you make a motion?
I make a motion to rescind the vote yesterday, go back through table, so as of now is her term up, that would be something up to you, but make motion to rescind that election, and for purposes or appeal purposes, that everything be procedure as by bylaws for how to re-elect a board member who is up for re-election, postings for vacancies, and proper prior notice for other board members as who's reapplying, or what letter of interest they do.
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion has been made by Kelly and seconded by Shelley. Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Where is,
And we did this.
where's
Thank you.
Marge? Trustee member Grow?
Well, I think just like what Kelly says, we had made a motion before because we had the same problem before. And there was a motion made that there would be a procedure to follow. And that's what we were talking about earlier, is that we can't let one or two members get us into a frenzy where we just go and, we do what we need to do. So I feel it's the right thing for us to get all of our members on board before we make this decision, because I, as one, also voted for Marge, because I appreciate everything that she's done out here. So I felt very shameful for what happened yesterday myself. I did. And I went home and I really had to take a look at things, because I was ready to walk myself, just because I did not feel comfortable in my heart what happened yesterday. I felt that it was a decision that was made. Certain people voted the way they wanted to vote, but I felt it wasn't because Marge, I don't know what their reasons were, but.
Because there was no direction. You
Well,
know?
I mean, you have
And
your
then
mind,
so
you
that's
have your
what
mind,
we're
you're either
talking
gonna vote yes or you're
But-
gonna vote no, and if you know Marge as the person she
No,
is,
there's a lot of different
you know,
stipulations
so-
to it, but, there was, and that's what it all comes back to. Everybody can continue pointing fingers, but if we're gonna be functioning and we're gonna have a due process and we're gonna be held accountable for what's not, everything needs to be done to the process, and that was not done. Even, so, it's just, everybody needs to take responsibility for their own actions and their own part of what's going on.
Yes. And with that said, yes, this is something that we need to, as we continue to grow as a board, we need to get more clarification on this. I promised you I would answer your 3 questions to the best of my ability. The first question was about the university, and some people call it a pan-native university. And this is something that we've been talking about as a board, about, servicing the people. This is something that I have a passion for too. So this is something that, as we continue to grow, I'll just tell all of you, you as community members, come to our meetings. Because you know what, we are really the servants of all of you. This university is for the people. What we are doing here is we're doing the best we can to our abilities. With what we have to do with, the government, for WASC accreditation, to get this university going again. And you know what, I'll just tell you, sometimes, and I'm sure all of you can relate to this, sometimes you, can't see the forest through the trees. And this is when you as a community come back to us and let us know, hey, are we doing okay or what? And as far as the threats of coming and reoccupying the university, to me I don't see those as threats. This university was founded on occupation.
Oh.
And this is part of what we are as a people. So I want to thank you all for your words, for coming in. And Trustee Member Grow, Marge,
What?
would you please come and take your seat here with the rest of us?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Vice Chair.
excuse me. What,
There was a motion made.
how can you
Marge.
do that after it was voted on yesterday?
There's a quorum.
We rescinded it, there was a motion.
But that's what we had problems with at that last meeting, when we were sending stuff, and Willie and Joseph hit the roof.
Marge, we didn't
I'm
follow.
tired
we didn't
of
follow
the
correct
fighting.
Process.
What?
We didn't follow the correct process yesterday.
Well, that seems to happen from now on. So if I'm voted back in, I want a motion for BIA to be off of this school. It's a conflict of interest. He has proven how he is. Shown no records of the employees that he's supposedly been paying and taking taxes out of. Where's that documentation? Where's that money? That's what they told us.
Because they were contractors.
Okay,
I have a motion on the floor, if I'm reinstated back in. Who's gonna stand with me on this, because this is a huge decision. He's coming after you, Stan.
You know what? Personal,
this is,
personal.
So you're not honoring what he's been doing?
Talk about someone else.
I am the chairman of the board. A motion has been made. Is there a second?
Y'all want the DIA to execute it, sounds like you
No
guys
BIA.
are
Excuse me,
And you
there's
know,
no BIA.
the thing that I want to say right now
There's no BIA.
is we can get caught up and just start spinning to, you know, all different other things, but we put this motion.
With due reason, insubordination, resigned 2 days in a row, and then said he didn't. Comes out here yelling at everybody, disrespecting, asking for tribal cards of our own, people who are already traumatized from boarding school trauma and generational trauma. No boards out here for them to tell you guys, this is what happens to people out here. He wants this to be a California-only college, federally recognized, when any one of us could be disenrolled any day, and then we're kicked off because he'll make it
There's
stick.
people here that'll testify.
I feel
He
too
will
that,
make it
I
stick.
feel too that Willie's not here, you know, and he has a lot to do with that voting you off too.
Well, you know what, okay,
I do, I feel like.
what
He's
I'm
not here
gonna
today
do,
either.
it doesn't look like anyone's going to second that, so this is not going to go anywhere now. But what I do want to say, is welcome back to the board.
Or the stipulations. I will not be disrespected again on him. No one who comes out here to volunteer is subject to being disrespected. You guys know the code of ethics, and he has violated them repeatedly to people, our own people.
See,
Why isn't he being held accountable?
Board Chair, please, point of order.
Yes, please.
She's been invited to be on the board. I don't think, excuse me,
she's the vice chair.
there's things that have been happened and volunteered and done here on the reservation. I speak because there's been meetings and the board has made decisions without those people being there. And Kelly, those documents have not gone through and taught on this board or listened or even read that information. And for someone to come in and talk about someone that's in dialysis and talk about someone that has done, my goodness, have you come to the Board of Trustees meetings and found out what Shelley has done, with Joe, with Stanley, the boards, sat with their meetings, and there hasn't
What
been
does that have to do
negativity.
with
There hasn't
Sunny?
been negativity, excuse me. there has been negativity against people of this board. And if it's personal, that should be set in personality or personal business. And that the board chair to say, excuse me, that's a personal issue against a person of what's happening. Make a board vote.
There's no vote.
There's a vote, bringing another board member in. But I think there needs to be brought by people that are coming in. They need to know what's happening here. And that's
Okay.
not only one person and another individual that's volunteered.
Yes.
Many people have come here to volunteer. Excuse me, John.
Okay.
I have a written, excuse me. I will, excuse me. I don't know who you are, but I'm trying to talk and that's just the way I do. I'm sorry.
You were rude and cut it into.
Okay, hang on.
Please,
Order.
board chair, let me
Please.
finish.
Finish and then we're.
Yeah, I just want to let them know that's a lot of documents that go through. And the other thing is when you know about people, that's personal. And there's no dialysis. I don't know where you got BIA. Everybody's different. California Rural Indian Health Board is paid by Indian Health Service. All your unrecognized Indians are getting money from the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And not all of you, but some of you. So when you talk about government people, please don't make a decision about people. That's personal, not people that you bring in to cover you. Thank you.
Okay, so the ones who didn't know me, it wasn't personal to vote me off who was voted in yesterday.
I feel that they shouldn't really have.
All right, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, we're coming to the end here. You go ahead.
I'm being attacked here, so I might as well talk about myself a little bit. I grew up in Benton, California, where there was no Indian reservations, and I did live on a reservation. I was never brought up on a reservation. And I went to high school in Bishop. I couldn't go to college because I didn't have the money. So I went in service. I spent 3 years with the service in the 101st Airborne Division. And I'm a vet, Vietnam vet, but non-combat. And then I used the GI Bill to go to school. I started a community college in the San Jose area, where I went to school under a BIA grant to be a welder. And then I used that occupation to work myself through college. I got an AA degree at West Valley Community College, transferred to Brigham Young University, where I got a bachelor's degree in history. And then I graduated from BYU, but while I was there, I found this book that said, Executive Orders Relating to Indian Reservations from 1850 to 1922. But before I went to BYU, I wrote a letter to them in 1970 from Benton, California, basically asking them if there was a reservation located in Benton at a certain land description. They wrote me a letter back saying there is no reservation in Benton. The closest reservation is in Bishop. So when I found the executive order that set the Benton Paiute Reservation aside on July the 22nd, 1915, I sent that to the Bureau of Indian Affairs. The Bureau came back and said they overlooked that executive order as well as the Bureau of Land Management, and that they recognized us from that point forward as a federally recognized tribal government reservation, and said we can organize in any system of government that we wanted to, as long as it was under the IRA, Indian Reorganization Act of 1934. So what was out there was 160 acres of land with an Indian cemetery on it, and nothing else. So when I graduated from BYU, I began developing that reservation from the ground up, including the government, which I did all the ordinances in the Constitution, got those approved by the people. And then I also wrote grants to get money to develop the reservation. I got money to lay out a community and to lay out the lots, lay out the roads. I got the BIA to pave those roads eventually. We got community development block grant money from the Bureau, from HUD to put in the infrastructure of telephones. There was no telephones in Old Benton at the time, none. Even the white people didn't have telephones. So with the reservation coming, we put in telephones, we got the electricity there, we laid out a community, and then the people were, well, first we'll even asked them if they wanted to move the reservation closer to Bishop, and they said no. So we developed it there, and then we started getting money for houses. We started out with a BIA HUD program and getting small houses like 900 square feet. But I wrote a grant to HUD under the Community Development Block Grant Program, and I was able to get funded for 8 houses. Those 8 houses turned out, we designed was a passive solar design house, 1,500 square feet, that provided heat from the sun to heat those houses. And we're probably the only one in the Eastern Sierra that has those kind of houses out there. And we built a community center, which was another HUD grant. And then I wrote a grant while I was going to the University of California, Davis to work on a master's degree to acquire a business off the reservation. And we were funded $145,000 to buy a service station, a cafe, a trailer park at the junction of Highway 6 and 120. We still own that business today, and we bought it on August the 24th, 1984. And we still have Indian people working there, and they have Indian people running it. I never finished the master's degree program at UC Davis, which I'm still currently trying to finish. The degree would be in community development. And in our book, there was also a program out here on community development. Now, once I finished that, and during that period of time, I was the tribal chairman from approximately 1973 to off and on to 2007. And I was also an administrator of the tribe. And the other business that we relocated and purchased and moved to the reservation was the Saddle Tree Factory. The Saddle Tree Factory is where you make the basic saddle tree out of wood, and then you sell it to saddle makers who make the saddle tree. And we had 10 people working there on the reservation making those saddle trees. And we were selling those not only in the United States, we were selling those internationally, to Sweden, to Australia, to Spain, to Germany. In fact, we had the guy from Sweden come to our factory in Benton and help him design a saddle tree that he wanted for the type of saddles they wanted in Europe. So, and that was on a reservation. It created jobs right there in the community because there's nothing else in Benton. There's 180 people live there. There's no businesses except for the one we now own. And nothing else going on. There's no employment whatsoever, so we have to provide that employment ourselves, and we did there for a while. But after I got voted out of office, they shut down the saddle tree, so there's no more employment except at the service station, gas station that we have. So, and that's basically been my career. I basically started in 1968. I've been at Alcatraz in '69. I only went to work for the Bureau of Indian Affairs because I needed a job. And right now I'm looking at the possibility of going back to work as the administrator for my tribe. And at the Bureau, the only thing I do is put together contracts for tribal governments to get their money to run their tribal government. and then move the money to them so they have it available. I have nothing to say about any policies of the Bureau. I have nothing to say about how they treat Indians or anything else. I'm just a bureaucrat at this point. And that's all I am. And I don't have to say to you, I have a boss over me. So I'm just kind of like at the lower end of the ring and just an employee. And I don't make any decisions on how Indians are treated. However, I don't like that job. I don't like the idea of working for the Bureau. And as soon as I can get me another job, I will be out of there and back home, I hope. I also worked with Congress, and we were able to acquire 240 acres of BLM land and have it added to the reservation by Congress and signed by President Bush in December of 2006. So it expanded our reservation to 400 acres. The other vision I had is to buy up Benton, buy up all the private land and then put it into trust. And that's what we got Benton Station. We're going to put it into trust. We also own another 60 acres of taxable land by the county. And my vision was to continue to buy all of that land up so we then own Benton. And then we can put it all into trust and take that land back. The other vision I had was to buy some land in Nevada. Now, we're only about 6 or 7 miles from the Nevada border. And buy land over there for the possibility of developing a truck stop and maybe a casino in Nevada under Nevada laws and regulations. And then we wouldn't be classified as a casino tribe. And then when we do a casino in California, then we could be, but that wouldn't hurt us. But that didn't happen. They wanted too much money for the land, and we could still probably do that down the road. But I was also buying some public domain Indian allotment out. And a public domain Indian allotment is like a homestead, but it's held in trust by individual Indians, not by a tribe. And there's a lot of those public domain allotments in California. And we have about 800 acres around Benton. So what I try to do is start buying this land out because it's near Mammoth Lakes, California. It has a hot creek running through the middle of it. It's got hot water in it. And put a casino over there with a convention center and a hotel behind the airport over there to make money and create jobs. So my career and my business has been to work for the benefit of Indian people, no matter where they're at, and I've never stopped doing that since Alcatraz and before when I was volunteering at the Indian Center in San Jose. So that's what I'll continue to do. If you vote me off the board, fine, vote me off. And I'll just go somewhere else, continue to do some work with Indian people, no matter what it is. So, and I'm not going to go, if you want to vote me off, then fine, vote me off. I'm not going to go to the community and get a whole bunch of people to come in here and protest. I'll just go home, no problem. So that's my position. That's where I've been and where I'm at. And I don't know how many more years I got left since I'm 71 years old, but I'm going to continue to do Indian stuff. So that's my position.
Also, I want to say something here, or people here, is explain myself. I don't know if you guys know me. I'm a new board member. Kelly Harry, Pyramid Lake, Paiute, and Washoe from Nixon, Nevada. I just want to say, you know, through families, generations, everything you're talking about, you know, I got my family member working at an international level all the way down to our community-based levels, you know, all the way to our family on our ranch. You know, we ranch and raise cattle and run horses, and my grandma's one of our last fluent speakers around there. And so what, you know, I was raised with all the old people too, like you guys are saying, oh, traditions, songs, language, this, that, you know, what is anybody doing, you know? Well, I also come from a line of educators, so I'm an educator myself. You know, people, yeah, working longest walk, all that, you know, my son's dad, he's involved in all that. What I do is appreciate everybody's effort, collective effort, in whatever level you're at, and whatever level it is, whatever is that. you know, I went to school to become a teacher, but I also went to school to learn the ways that can be applied back into the languages for curriculum development, teacher training, and all of that, and that's what I do. I serve as a language coordinator for the Reno-Sparks Indian Colony, and I work with the Washoe, Paiute, and Shoshone languages, which are the 3 main languages in Nevada. Those are the 3 tribes. And when you guys talk about federal recognition, it's very important because the government has plenary power to pull that federal recognition anytime they want if you don't have a language, if you don't have a culture, if you lose your speakers, or you're not doing any cultural things for them to say you're a separate person, they can pull your federal status anytime. That's something all federally recognized tribes are in danger of. So, of course, yes, the termination, the relocation, all those things, we all were supposed to work together to do that. I came on to a DQ board with the hopes to bring what I know, with the hopes that I bring with all the programs I'm running for my communities, our children over there, our teachers over there, the staff we have over there, to try to get some of those things in here. But, you know, so it's been a long, I've been on for almost a year, and it's been a long year. It's all like this, every meeting. There's no progress. Yes, I'd love to go over this stuff. I'd love to start signing volunteers up to get this program in, that program in, whatever, you know, but we just haven't gotten to that point. But shit, we're certain, you know, it's still being done. It's still being field tested over in my community. It's been done. All the kinks and quirks are working out. You know, I'm getting grants in for stuff over there that could be easily applied with the MOU or any type of relationships for any of our communities that we have, and we have great programs that are happening at our home. Get that MOU, share it, bring it here. You know, you guys wanted to, that's why I just wanted to share that, because one of the questions was, what's the plan going to be as far as resources or educational plan, curriculum plan, so I wanted to share a little bit of that with you. That's what I was doing, but, you know, I'm at the same point, too, where, you know, we are all volunteering our time too, and when we can't come together in a meeting and have respect for each other, or treat, you know, discount each other's knowledge that is important to us because it was taught to us by our grandmas, not your grandma. That was my grandma that taught me this. It's your grandma that taught you guys that, or your grandpas. You know, nobody has a right to disrespect any of that, you know, and any of that knowledge. So, you know, same thing. I'll continue to develop this for my home, my community, you know, because those 3 languages, everything that's working, is still going to help the greater community, you know, and it'll help them in higher education as well. We have a Washoe language student from our program that's approved to take the Washoe language for credit distant learning through Northwest Indian College, you know, so this will still keep benefiting our own, each and own communities. You know, we'll keep working. Sierra Nevada College, University of Nevada, Reno also work with us to accredit our Paiute language when we have students sign up to take that language. It's being taught in the high schools, so everything, these templates and all this stuff, you know, we're talking about reinventing the wheel, you know, it all continue to develop, and, you know, so when it's time for it to come here, it'll come here. It's already being done, the work's being done, you know, because you always have to take care of the home front before you go out and do all this stuff first. You gotta make sure it's working in your own backyard. You know, we put in the gardens over there, we've done all that stuff that needs to happen here, so, you know, like I told them today, I got 20 kids that need somewhere to go to college over there, you know, and I'm working and trying to make sure they're gonna get the services they need and the colleges they're going at from a language and cultural perspective, not for higher education, because we need those people to come back with high quality education, thinking, bigger picture thinking, that vision thinking. That's what we need. So wherever it needs to work, I came here thinking this would be a great place to get it open and get, you know, so central to everybody around here. Let's get it back and going. You know, I was always wanted to attend it here growing up, but things turned out differently for me, and I ended up going to a different school. You know, so I just wanted to express that a little bit of myself and kind of answer that question as far as what some of the classes were going to be that were offered here. Part of that is the budget and, you know, not having available funds for staffing, like to have an on-site cultural coordinator that can continue to develop beading classes or whatever, you know, language classes, stuff like that. You know, that's what I do in my community, but, you know, I'm able to get paid for that, so I do for a job. You know, is provide all those types of things. Those are things that I thought I could, you know, also help to implement here, but without budget, without money, who's gonna sit here and, yeah, do it for free, you know? And that's where you guys are saying, oh, we're glad to volunteer, we're here all the time, we work for free all the time, that's great. We need your phone numbers, you know, we can get some classes set up there, we got all the materials, we got whatever. If you want, you know, can do that for us, like you guys are saying, that'd be great. Get with the curriculum committees, you know, so we can start pushing some of these plans that way. And again, like I said, I got that youth group, you know, building materials or any types of things out here. If you guys have youth groups within your communities, you know, let's bring them here and teach them about that history and everything that you guys know. You know, the whole history of this place, you know, that's important for our kids to know, because that's going to really, you know, motivate them and inspire them to continue to build on this. It takes people.